Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. I can see that the chat is already going. Can you hear me all right? Is the microphone okay? Brilliant. Good. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Liana. How are you? Hello, Aisha. Alicia, sorry. Ayub. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes for other people to come in. And then we'll get started and have a little chat about what we're going to do today. Hey, Ziza. Hello, Mrs. Kaur. And Mrs. Galloway, welcome. Yes, I am going to miss Anglesey a lot. Morning, Eunice. So, why are you leaving? Well, we'll do a little question section right at the very end, and I can answer some questions there. Thank you, Mrs. Galloway. I will miss you. I remember you, Alicia. Long time ago now. 8 or 9 years. Morning, Mirage. Welcome. Morning, Sahina. Umi, good morning. Umi's sister. Hello. Morning. We've got 24 on at the moment. We'll give it another couple of minutes and then we'll get started. We're going to start off with a literacy lesson, just some sentence building. And then we'll go into a little Q&A before we finish. I've chosen to do the video today in my attic, which was probably a silly idea because it is very warm in here. Might have to move later and go outside. I'm not wearing a shirt and a jumper, Mrs. Galloway. It's just a t-shirt this morning. Afternoon now, isn't it? It's gone noon. Yeah, do a room tour. It's cold as always. It's a bit too hot in here, so I'm a little bit jealous. So what school are you going to? We'll do questions. We'll do some questions at the end. And then I'll answer anything you ask. Yeah, Nehar, it's a hot day and the sun's coming right in, which is good because I'm growing pumpkins in the garden at the minute, and they need a lot of sunlight to grow. Hey, Safwan, are you okay? Yeah, at my new school, Mrs. Galloway, I'm going to be wearing suits again, like I did at my first year in Anglesey. Full suit. Maybe not in summer. That might be a bit too hot. Yeah, we've got lots of things in the garden at the minute. We picked our raspberries the other day and we made some jam out of them. We've got gooseberries and we've got wild strawberries. I've planted a blackberry bush in the garden. We're growing some tomatoes, some chili peppers, and the pumpkins. Hello, Umi. Yeah, it was a sad moment when England lost the Euros, but the team did amazing to get as far as they did. Never in my lifetime. So what an amazing team! Still an amazing achievement. And yes, we have the World Cup coming just around the corner. Mrs. Galloway, get on with it. Okay, I think we will get started. We're going to start with literacy today, and we're just going to do a little fun session. And I'll give a little task to do right at the very end. So I've just picked out a few features, nothing too difficult, but just a few features of writing that we're going to work on. Now, the thing I like about books, and a thing that's kind of lost from books, are the pictures. In nursery and in reception and into year 1 and some books in year 2 and maybe even into year 3, a lot of books have pictures in them. But then as you get a bit older, year 4, year 5, year 6, and then on into secondary school, the pictures get further and further apart and then eventually disappear altogether. Now, I understand why they do that in books. It's because as you get better as a reader, you also get better at making pictures in your mind. And that's the sign of a good reader, but it's also the sign of a good writer. A good reader can put a picture in their head reading a book. They can see in their mind exactly what is going on, and they can build that image so that they understand what the writer is talking about. Morning, Rayanne. Morning, everyone. With a good writer, they need to be able to put that picture into the reader's head. And it's a shame that as we get older, those pictures disappear, because I really do like picture books. And I think that there's a lot that can be gained from picture books. And even some writers do write novels that are all pictures, no sentences. In fact, one of my favorite books is by Sean Tan, and it's called The Arrival. And this book it's a short novel, but it is entirely pictures. No words in this book whatsoever. It's just completely made up of images. And I really like that, because as a writer, images gives us ideas of what we want the story to be. In fact, a lot of writers that write books and are good at telling stories, like Neil Gaiman, who's wrote Coraline, used a lot of the images in their books from real life images that were in their minds. Neil Gaiman used his house from England and his house from America to make, and his grandmother's house, to make one house that Coraline lives in. So it's taking these pictures and it's describing them in a way so that the person who's reading your writing can see what you want them to see. And that's the sign of a good writer. If you can get a reader to see exactly what you want them to see from your description, well, then you know your description's good. With that in mind, today's lesson is going to be all about pictures. I'm going to show you lots of different pictures, and I think you're going to recognize the Coraline is a little bit scary. You're right. I'm going to show you some pictures, and you will recognize the characters in them, or at least some of the characters in them. But for each picture that I show you, we're going to think of some language to build some good descriptive sentences. We're going to focus on different features for each image. And then at the end, I'm going to show you one last image, and I will task you with writing a short descriptive piece to see if you can put that image into somebody else's mind through your writing. Of course, our school email addresses are still open, and at the moment, because I haven't left quite yet, I still have access to the Year 2 email address. So if you want to send an email over there, you can. Unfortunately, because the Year 2 group is isolating, it means I won't be able to come back into school before the end. I won't be able to go into school today. I won't be able to go into school on Monday. I am going to pop into the school on Friday, just because I need to get some things together for the children's new teacher. So if you are here from 2S, I spoke to Mrs. Hussein today, and she is very excited to have you in her new class. Okay, I'm going to show you the first picture. I put little post-it notes on it. That's just for me, so I know which pictures to do first and what the feature is that I want. I'm going to ask for you in the chat in a moment to come up with some ideas, and I'm going to write them down. After we've got enough ideas, I'm going to hold up what I've collected, and I'm going to ask you to try and build a sentence for them. So this is the first picture. You will recognize the character, probably, if you've seen the film. Does anybody recognize the character? Who's that? No idea. Ah, we got one. Well done, Mirage. It is Pinocchio. That is Pinocchio from the film Pinocchio, the Disney film Pinocchio. But let's focus beyond Pinocchio at the moment and have a look at what's going on in this picture. Thinking about nouns only, what can you see? So we've got the pronoun Pinocchio, his name, but what nouns can you see in this image? Wooden nose. Yes, he does have a wooden nose. That would be a noun. Although wooden would be a describing word, wouldn't it? So the nose part would be brilliant. Houses, a tree, a boy. Yeah. Moon. Absolutely. Try not to add descriptive words like wooden. Just tell me the nouns. Mountains, house, tree. Yes, he did lie. That's why his nose grew. Mountain, tree, hair. Yeah, anything else that you can see? Let me get a bit closer. What about up in the sky? Grass, that's a good one. Stars, absolutely. Down below in the town. Think about parts of the houses as well, not just the houses themselves. The ghost. I can't see a ghost. I can see rabbits, windows, roofs, spire. That's a good noun. Chimneys. What else? Chimneys, yes. Window, lights, roof. Brilliant. Okay. Part of a description, and one of the main parts of a description. There's lots of other things that go into it, and we're going to look at the other things. But one of the key things that we need to add are adjectives. Adjectives to describe the nouns. And we do need adverbs as well to describe verbs if we're talking about action. But if we are just talking about a setting, the key thing is adjectives, because they link to our nouns. And we've just come up with a list of lots of different nouns that we see in that picture. Adjectives make or break the description, because I could use very simple adjectives. For example, house, big. Sky, nice. Stars, bright. Grass, green. Chimney, tall. But I want us to think a little bit deeper today. I want us to get a list of really adventurous, really exciting adjectives. Now, they don't have to come from your mind alone. If you have a Windows browser open or a Chrome open, you can use a thesaurus online. But what I would like, and what I'm going to start recording in a minute in my handy scrapbook, fantastic resources here, in my handy scrapbook, is I'm going to record a list of good adjectives that you put into the chat. So I'm going to give you a minute just to look at the picture, to think about adjectives that could describe those nouns. Think of more adventurous adjectives to describe those nouns. Don't just go for the first one. And then if you get a bit stuck, use thesaurus.com to look at other words that could describe it. Here's the image. I'm going to give you a minute and then I'm going to start recording. So we could go for huge. There's other words too. Huge, big. There are other words too. Ginormous. I've never been that fond of ginormous because it's a mixture of gigantic and enormous, and I prefer gigantic and enormous. Magnificent. Gargantuan. That is a great one, Harris. Well done. Humongous. Giant. Okay, I'm going to start recording some of these words down into the book now. So let's have a look what we got. Enormous. Lovely. I like that one. What else? Bright. I will put bright. Bright is a nice one, but maybe you could think of another word for bright. Giant, humongous. Humongous. Okay, we're getting a lot of, oh, mountainous. That's good. Wouldn't be good to use for the mountains because then you're using the same word twice. You wouldn't really say mountainous, mountains. Shimmery. Yes, I like it. Shimmery stars. Bit of alliteration there, isn't there? Shimmery stars. Vast. Oh, wow, what a word. Vast. Huge. Vast. We're getting upstaged by year twos. It's not upstaging. We're working together. Glimmering. Love it. What else have we got? I'll show you the picture again. Think of the different aspects of the picture, not just the stars, not just the mountains, not just the houses. What else could you use describing words for here? Blue. Sparkling. Let's add that. Sparkling. Wooden and oak. Wooden. Oak describes the tree. Crisp for the leaves. Wow. Lots in there. Crisp. Dreamy. Yeah, like a dreamy sky, isn't it? Almost like a dream. It's dreamy or dream-like. Luminous. Yeah, glowing. The luminous windows throughout the town. Luminous. Absolutely. We'll go for a couple more. Yellow. Yeah, we could go straight for the colour. Sparkling, crunchy. Anything else we got? How about you, Mrs. Galloway? Can you think of anything? Yeah, the streets could be bustling. I don't think they were in that picture though. It was night, wasn't it? And it was quite dark out. Gloomy, yeah. Although we need to be careful with words like gloomy because it can portray an emotion, and this doesn't seem that gloomy. Pretty for the fairy. There was Jiminy Cricket, the cricket there. Peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. Lovely. One more really good one. What else have we got? Yeah, you could say there's a aromatic scent. Good word. Aromatic scent coming from the flowers or the roses, or you can be really specific with those nouns. You wouldn't just say flowers. You could say the forget-me-nots, couldn't you? Right. I've got a list in my book of, at the minute, adjectives. Now, we're going to try and build some sentences in the chat. And we're going to use adjectives as a starting point for that picture. Now, there are two ways to do this. You can either use two adjectives together in your sentence. So brilliant, bright moon. There was a brilliant, bright moon. If you do that, you separate them with a comma. So you have the brilliant, comma, bright moon. Another way to do it is like a list or an adjective string. And that's where you put more than two adjectives together. I wouldn't go over three. But you can do an adjective string. So the brilliant, bright, and shining moon. Yeah, there was a brilliant, bright, and shining moon. Don't worry about complex sentences at the moment. We're going to add in other features later. Right now, all I want you to do is either do an adjective pair or an adjective string and write it into a sentence. I'm going to put up the adjectives that we wrote down together. Apologies, I haven't got a whiteboard today, so I'm going to have to use this book. There we go. Can we see that? Try and put a sentence together for that picture. Use the adjectives, either two in the sentence separated by a comma, or adjectives in a list separated by a comma and the word and before the third adjective. The moon was brilliant, bright, and shiny. The luminous, sparkling moon shone over the vast town. Well done, Alicia. That is actually the next feature we're going to look at that you've put in that sentence there. So that's really good. The roses were scented, perfumed, and aromatic. Lovely. Well done. Specific noun, roses as well. That's what I like to see. Good. There was a boy that was looking around the gloomy, dark night. Two adjectives there. I'd put comma between them, but good. What else have we got? The peaceful town. Let's try and have two or more adjectives in the sentence. The trees were luminous and shimmering. I guess luminous for me is a brighter word, so I don't know if I'd call the trees luminous. The bright wooden mountains. The mountains would be made of rock. The gloomy moon watched over the bustling town. So that there, you've given almost a personality, haven't you? You've done personification. You've said that the moon is watching over. We're not going to do personification today, but that would be something fantastic to add to your description later, Aziza. The shimmering stars glowed in the dark sky. Lovely, Liana. Absolutely. Shimmering stars. What? Yeah, very nice. Glowed. And dark. It was a dreamy, peaceful night. Wonderful. Absolutely. Okay, we are going to pause that there. Thank you so much for your sentences. Oh, one more coming through. The gloomy, peaceful sky filled me with joy. That is an emotion sentence. We're going to look at that later as well and combine them all together. So that's my first post-it note done. I've got 6. I don't know if we're going to get through them all, but that's adjectives. We've got some good adjectives and we've used them in a sentence. That's really good. Well done. Okay, we're going to move on now to one of my favorite features. And that feature is adverbials. Now, adverbials and fronted adverbials, or not fronted adverbials that you could put in the middle or even at the end of your sentence if you're going to use maybe a comma at the end or an embedded clause that would have commas either side of it, because it can go in the middle of your sentence, an adverbial phrase. It can start your sentence, and I know Mr. Jordan has done a good video on fronted adverbials, so it can go at the start of your sentence or it could go at the end of your sentence. They have 3 forms. Adverbials have 3 forms that we're going to focus on. The first one is where, so position words. In fact, because I've got lots of other areas to go through, we're going to focus mainly just on that one. So we're going to focus on the where things are happening or where things are. So to start me off, let's see if we can get some position adverbials, and you don't just have to do it single words. It can be short adverbial phrases as well. So for example, I might use the adverbial phrase behind the trees or up above. And I'll show you the picture that we are going to be describing. Again, you might know these characters. So take a minute, look at this picture from Snow White. And think, if we're going to use where adverbials, what could I describe the position of? And how could I describe their position? So I could describe the glimmering precious stones down here, but I would need to add the adverbial to say where they are. I could describe this in the background or different aspects of the background, the sky that we can see poking out here below the doorway. We could describe the darker parts of the cavern. Where is it? Okay, let's have some position words. I'm going to write them down into my notebook if I can find my pen that I just had, which is here. In a beautiful forest, in the middle of a beautiful forest, or in a beautiful forest. Could be the start of our sentence, could be an embedded clause in the middle of our sentence, or could be something that we put at the end of the sentence. Deep in a cavern, in a beautiful forest, right at the end. In, so we've had in or inside. What else could we have? After would be a time one. We're not really focusing on that, but you're right, you could use that as an adverbial phrase. So after days, after months, after weeks, after years of working hard, they finally discovered the precious stones. In between, I'm going to add that. I won't take your idea of the full sentence there, Harris, but in between is a lovely position word. In between. Above, absolutely. We've got the word above. Brilliant. Above. Under, yeah, we can have under the hill, under the doorway, just outside the doorway, behind. Yeah, absolutely. We can have behind. Brilliant. Good. What else we got? Up front, or I might say at the front, or towards the front of the cavern. What else have we got? Below, yeah, I don't think I've got below, so we'll add below. Behind, I do have. Overhead, wow, that's a great one. I hadn't thought of that one. Overhead, who was that? Nehar, well done. Absolutely. You must have had a good teacher in year 3. Beneath, that's a good word too. Close to, absolutely close to. Close to or close by. Ahead, just ahead. Yeah. Wow. Honestly, some words I haven't thought of before. Really good. In around the perimeter. Yeah, the perimeter. I'm going to write down the word perimeter. I'll let you use it in whatever context you want, but that is a good one. Mr. Keeling, you were my year 3 teacher. Oh, well, wow. Look at how well you've done then. I must have done something right. Or maybe it was the teachers that came after and before me. What else have we got? And I know it. On top, yeah, so we've got in. We didn't have on. Yeah. On. Careful with in and on. The amount in the beach rather than on the beach or on the between, in between, or you could have between. Absolutely. In between, or you could have between. Absolutely. Yeah. Or there's another word that means around that I really like. I really do like. Yeah, I think the glitch was my my internet, because I am at the top of the house. Is it any better now? Good. Next to, and I would add surrounding as well, but I'm not going to write that down. You can use that. Right, sentence work. We've done adjective sentences. So if you want to add adjectives to this sentence, you can, because then we can start building. We can use the building blocks of writing to build up our sentence. But now we are doing position adverbials. Other adverbials that we could have done were when adverbials, you know, in the morning, in the early evening, a few weeks ago, tomorrow, etc. We could have used those adverbials to start or end, or use as an embedded clause. And we could have used how to describe the actions that are happening. But let me just, in the chat, let me just try and put one together. So if we have a look at the picture again. And I might say, there were, and then I'm going to use an embedded clause. So I'm going to put the adverbial into the middle of my sentence. There were, towards, front portion of the darkened cavern, shining precious jewels. Okay. So here you can see in my sentence that I've just popped into the chat, I've started there were, but then I've interrupted myself with an embedded clause, the adverbial going into the middle. Now, you do a lot of work in school, especially year 2, year 3, about fronted adverbials coming at the front of the sentence. You also talk about subordinating clauses and things that you put onto the end of the sentence. So adverbials there. But this, what I've done here is I've put it right in the middle of my sentence. There were, comma, towards the front portion of the darkened cavern, comma, shining precious jewels. And you can put the adverbial phrase right there in the middle of the sentence using a comma either side of it. I want you to give it a go. It's up to you where you put these adverbials to describe this picture, which I'll show you again. It's up to you where you put the adverbial, whether you use a fronted adverbial, whether you use a embedded or drop-in clause, or whether you put it at the end of your sentence. Have a play with it. See which sentence sounds best. But here are the words we collected. Try and build me a sentence. And don't forget, you can use adjectives from before. Here we go. Apologies for my handwriting, children. You would think after 8 or 9 years of teaching it would improve. So using these as either a fronted adverbial, an embedded clause, or at the end of your sentence, a subordination, try and add. Inaya, it's definitely not good. But I was writing quickly. In the distance, comma, don't forget the comma after your fronted adverbial, there were elves inside of the hills. Okay. In the perimeter was jewels as expensive as gold. I would say around. So I wouldn't say in, I would say around the perimeter, Harris. But around the perimeter were jewels as expensive as gold. I love the word expensive and I love the word perimeter in there. Well done. The sunlight hit the glittering gems underneath the rocks. Lovely, Alicia. Beautiful sentence. And added it at the end. Good. Playing with it. That's good. Towards the towering wooden door, wow, was a range, what a good word, of precious jewels glittering from afar. Wow, you have added quite a lot to that sentence. You've got position at the front, at the start of your sentence, and you've got position at the end as well, glittering from afar towards the towering wooden door. All I would do is easier on that sentence is I would add a comma after the word door for your fronted adverbial, but well done. Absolutely brilliant. Chairs are in the house and trees are outside. Two position words in there, Hamza, in and outside, and it makes sense. Good work. The jagged old rocks lay overhead. Stood overhead, maybe? Loomed overhead. Below the tree was grass as green as the tree. We're kind of going on simile, which we will do a little later. Mr. Keeling, are you coming into school on Monday? I'm afraid at the moment, Parisa, I have to isolate, so I will not be in school on Monday. In between the dwarfs, shimmering, glittering, big gems were laying down in the dirty ground. Yeah, Mirage, absolutely. Year 2 work. That is brilliant for year 2. That is absolutely. The fire, expensive. So, Rayan, remember, you're taking the position and you're adding it to the picture. If you didn't see the picture, don't worry. He said he's going to school on Friday. Yes, that's true. Okay, some good sentences there. So far, adjectives and positional adverbials, where adverbials, and we've also talked about using them, playing around with them in our sentences. Embedded, fronted adverbial, or as a subordination. Right, what's the next skill and what's the next picture? Oh, this one's so good. This is a very easy skill to get into, but to really nuance, to really make it special, it takes a lot of work. There's a writer called Ernest Hemingway, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature for a book called, or at least it was partly because of the book called The Old Man and the Sea, which I've read, and I didn't really like it, but that's okay. I don't have to like everything that I read, even if it is apparently one of the best books or one of the best descriptive books ever written. I didn't really care for Old Man and the Sea, but I have read some of Ernest Hemingway's other works, and they are absolutely incredible, some of his books, but his description is really subtle and really limited, really subtle. So, for example, there's a scene where someone is fishing with their best friend and they have the most wonderful time together, and Ernest Hemingway describes that with the sentence, "It was nice." But he uses it in such a way that it makes you feel something. So we can start this quite easily. Emotion, with emotion words. But really, how we use them, and if we choose better emotion words, it can help us to describe things in a very particular way. And books are charged with emotion. They are absolutely charged with emotion. You watch films, and films can make you laugh, they can make you cry, they can make you really happy, really angry. But I find that a book can do that so much more because of the description. It can really, I've been angry at books, I've cried at books, I've laughed at books, I've probably shouted at books, "Why did you do that?" But they can really get you going if the writer is good at using emotions. So I've chosen quite a fun picture for our emotions, and I want some words that I'm going to record in a moment to describe the emotion of either the characters. So we could talk about the characters in this picture, or the emotion of the scene. Let's have a little look. So again, some of you will recognize this character. And I want you to have a look at what's going on here, and have a look at all the characters below. What emotions, there's several, what emotions are on this picture? Here, down here, across here, and up here. Again, like the adjectives, you can start very simple with emotion words. So you could say happy, or excited, or surprised. But just like adjectives, there are more exciting, more adventurous words out there. So in the chat, try and fill it with emotion words for that picture that I've just shown you. Try and make them exciting. Again, puzzled. We've got started already. Absolutely. Puzzled. Wonderful. You can use a thesaurus for this as well to find synonyms. So if you've got a thesaurus open, it's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's helping. We are learning new words. So if you've got a thesaurus open, you could type in the word puzzled and it might find more words. Chaos. Chaos. How would we relate that to a feeling? Stunned. Stunned. In horror, yeah. Looked on in horror. So we could have horror. Maybe some people are horrified. Maybe that's their emotion. They're horrified. What a flying elephant! Horror! You know, something like that. Enjoyment, yeah. Yeah, so enjoyment might be the emotion. Think about the emotion for the scene as well. You know, before somebody used the word gloomy, and that's an emotion, but it also describes the setting, doesn't it? It's almost like an emotion mixed with an adjective. Astonished, they could feel astonished, absolutely, astonished. What else we got? Happy, yeah, but what's more than happy? Joyful, overjoyed, ecstatic. You know, these words are what we want. This is what we want. Dazed, yeah, like confused. Whoa, what is happening? Why is there an elephant flying? Startled, what a good word. Neha, you really had a good teacher in year 3. You must have. You must have. Don't know who that was. But they must have been brilliant. Speechless, speechless. Without words, utterly speechless. You wrote ecstatic. I'm sorry, I missed it. I will add it to the list now. Shocked. Sir, do you have a family? Yes, I have a family. We'll do a Q&A session right at the very end of this. Surprised, shocked. Shocked, maybe. They're not all just surprised, though. Some of them like it. Look. Some of them not just shocked. Look at the children down here. Euphoric, Aziza. My goodness me. What a word. Euphoric. I bet you had a good teacher in year 3 as well. Must have, Aziza. They say that what you learn in year 3 is what really matters. Yeah, we'll do a 10-minute Q&A. Anxious, yeah. Some people might be a bit worried, especially because it's, you know, a big elephant flying. What happens if it falls? Anxious. Maybe Dumbo is a little anxious. Amazed, yeah. We'll go for a couple more. Outraged. Yeah, I mean, some people all their life never seen an elephant. Elephant can't fly. I'm absolutely outraged by this. Why not? Why not? There can be lots of different emotions going on. Lots of different emotions. And there are. Glee. Glee. Yes, the TV show where everyone sings. Glee. Or the emotion. Don't stop Believing. Yeah, you're right. Worried, exhilarated. I'm going to pause it there, but some really, really, really good words there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the picture again. And again, like before, we're building blocks, aren't we? So we've done adjectives, we've done adverbials, position adverbials at least, and we've looked at where they could go. So the beginning of the sentence, an embedded clause, subordinate clause, and now we're going to get that emotion in there as well. Well, the reason I'm singing is because it's really hot in here and I want it to rain. So I'm going to show you that picture again. If I can find it. Oh no, I've took my post-it note out. I'm going to show you that picture again, and then I'm going to show you the words we collected together, and then I would like you to try and build me a sentence. So for example, let me just quickly do a sentence. Down below, there's my adverbial, comma. The people were astonished, that's one of my emotions, astonished by the large flying elephant. So there, not the best use of language, but in that sentence, we've got our adverbial to start, we've got our emotion in the middle, and then we finished it off with adjective. Yeah, large elephant. So combined all three into one sentence. Your singing is amazing. We'll see how the weather goes later, whether or not I believe you. Here we go. These are the, oh, picture first. Come on, Mr. Keeling, think. Picture first. Here we go. So this is the picture. Oh, we've got some coming already. A euphoric feeling breezed. Wow, getting a really good verb in there. Breezed over me, as did the wind. Whilst, okay, so time, Dumbo flew through the air and position. Alicia, that is amazing. You've got emotion. You've got a good adjective. You've got position, and you've got time. Adverbials in there. Well done. That is amazing. Keep going. Right, here are my words. Try and get some sentences up there. Can you combine these words with adverbials, with adjectives? Can you do it? You're welcome, Alicia. I'm only saying the truth. It was a very good sentence. I'll give it a minute for people to build their sentence because now there's a lot of blocks to put in there. Meters beneath, very specific. I like specific language. People were very anxious about the bewildering, that's like confusing, isn't it? Bewildering, comma, flying elephant. So we've got position, we've got feeling, and we've got adjectives. Fantastic. Well done, Harris. Feeling ecstatic, the people looked up towards the sky as Dumbo flew across the village. Yes, Rayan, very good. Ecstatic is the emotion. People looking up towards the sky. Where is it? It's up in the sky. And he's flying across the village. Absolutely brilliant. Adverbials in there. Great. So what's your banana bread recipe? It's still on the Teachathon. You can still access that video if you want the banana bread. As I watched the huge elephant, so that's when, so we've got time in there, Aziza, good. As I watched the huge elephant fly across the sky, again, I would put a comma after sky, a feeling of amazement and euphoria passed by me. Lovely, beautiful description. Honestly, Aziza, I really look forward to reading your novel in the future. I cannot wait. You best send me a copy so I can read it. I'm looking forward to it. Below Dumbo, all of the people were speechless to see the huge flying elephant. Everything I asked for. Position, and then right in the middle, an embedded clause, which is the emotion, and then huge flying elephant at the end there. Well done. Excitement flowed through my blood. Whoa. As an enormous elephant flew over town. Fantastic. I was astonished when the elephant flew on top of us. Above us might work better there. And he was in horror. A little bit of work just to change that around, but some really good ideas. Astonish, absolutely. In there. In horror is really good as well to get in there. When they saw Dumbo, they were speechless. That's just pure emotion. Good. Beneath were people with mixed feelings. Mixed feelings, yes, because we said there's lots of emotions going on that page. And some were anxious as a smooth breeze fell on me. Absolutely. Everyone is puzzled by the flying elephant. I was astonished when the elephant flew on top of us and he was in horror beneath. Flew above us. People were in horror beneath. Their feelings were mixed. Some were startled. Some. I like how you described that. That would be the next logical thing, wouldn't it? If you say there's mixed emotions, Ayub, then you would say some were this, some were that, and some were just this, and you could really build in a list sentence there. So well done. All right, we're going to pause it there. We're going to pause it there because we've still got other things to look at. Whew, I think I wrote my list. I think I chose too many. I'm going to skip number 4. I'm going to skip number 4, so and cut that down. And we're going to have a little look at the number 5 before I introduce the task, because I really do want to do the Q&A with you. So a final thing just to add is number 5, which is simile and metaphor. Now, people can get confused about similes and metaphors, and they find them really difficult. And I think that's because sometimes similes and metaphors, the people that explain them, don't quite understand similes and metaphors. And so to try and explain it, we overcomplicate it, when really similes and metaphors are very, very simple. Very, very simple. All it is comparing something to something else. So, for example, if I was being really strict, and I was shouting at my class, and I was saying, yeah, like that, what might you compare me to just there? If I was shouting and my face was red and it was almost like I was breathing fire, what would you compare me to? A really mean, angry teacher. What might you compare it to? A dragon, Mirage. Brilliant. A dragon. Absolutely. You might compare it to a dragon or a monster. Because I am calm. It's just acting, isn't it? So yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? You change with acting. You can just change your emotion. So 1 minute you can be really strict, stop doing that, and the next minute you can just talk really happily. So anyway, you might compare it to a monster or a dragon. Let's go with dragon because that seemed to be the you could say roared like a lion. Now this is the very simple difference between metaphor and simile. Simile, I'm going to say it is like a dragon. The teacher was like a dragon. The teacher was like a great, fiery, angry dragon. He's like it. Yeah? Or he was as mean as a dragon. He's like that dragon. He's not that dragon. He is like that dragon. Metaphor, you just say that the teacher is a dragon. That's the difference. And it does the same thing because the teacher wasn't really a dragon. But the metaphor shows that he's like a dragon, but you actually say he is. So this is the difference. Very simple. The teacher was like a dragon. The teacher was a dragon. That's it. Simile, metaphor. Done. Okay. He was as tall as a giant. He was a giant. Metaphor, simile. Very simple, very straightforward. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture and we're going to see if we can come up with some metaphors. What are things in this picture like? Similes. And metaphors, again, what are they like? But we are going to say they are that thing. So let's have a look at the picture. You've got to be careful with some of them, Inaya, because if you say she's as cute as a baby and she was a baby, there's a different connotation to that metaphor. Yeah. She was a baby could be an insult. Yeah. So you have to be careful sometimes. Yeah. The teacher was like a raging dragon. The teacher is a raging dragon would be an example of simile and a metaphor. Yeah. Was as red as a hot pepper. His face was a hot pepper. You know, it's the same thing. So looking at this picture then, what is there in there we could add a simile for? Well, we could add the steamboat. We could add a simile for the beauty or the light of the moon, for the sky. But one that I really like is this trail of fireflies. This trail of fireflies that go right around the boat. Yeah, and that's a simile. The boat was as big as a beast, or the boat was a big, raging beast. Yeah, simile, metaphor. I really like this string of fireflies. What could we say for those? What could we say for the whole picture? Have a think. Try and type me in a simile or a metaphor. Her rage was as furious as a thunderstorm. Yeah. Her rage was a thunderstorm. So her rage was as furious as a thunderstorm would be the simile, and the metaphor would be her rage was a furious thunderstorm. You're saying it is that, even though we know it's not actually a thunderstorm. The water was as calm as a cool breeze on a hot summer's day. Lovely. The water was a cool breeze on a hot summer's day. That's literally the difference between simile and metaphor. So simple. And yet, metaphors confuse us because they're hard to explain. But if you explain them in conjunction with a simile, if you start from the simile and change it to a metaphor, it's easier. The sun was as hot as fire. I don't think that would work quite as well as a metaphor because the sun literally is a burning ball of fire, isn't it? So that would be literal, it wouldn't be a metaphor. The moonlight was as bright as the sun, good simile. The fireflies glowed like fairy lights. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And then you would turn that into a metaphor. You would say the fireflies were a string of fairy lights wrapping themselves around the steam engine boat. The trail of fireflies sparkled around the boat. Right, that wouldn't be a metaphor because you're not comparing the fireflies. You're not saying they're like anything else. And then you're not saying they are something else to compare it as well. So it wouldn't be a simile or a metaphor. Was as bright as the moon. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Or you could turn that into a metaphor and say each firefly was a dazzling moon or a dazzling star. Yeah, so you could say they are that for the metaphor. Can I see it again? Absolutely. I'll put it back up one more time, and then we're going to move on to the actual task. The clouds were like drooping cobwebs coating the sky. The tree branches reached down with their long, spiky fingers. Metaphor. The water was a mirror reflecting the beauty of the night. All metaphors. You're saying they are things, but really what you're doing is you're comparing them. Any other metaphors or similes you can think of? I'll just give it a minute and then we will go on to our main task before we do a quick Q&A. The samosa was as hot as the sun. I don't see that in the picture, but yeah, it's a good simile. Can we teach you Bengali? I don't think there's enough time left. We're only going to do a 10-minute Q&A. The flowers bloomed as big as a pumpkin. Like it. Compares it to what's growing in the garden. Okay. We will stop it there. Isha, yeah, I will come into school again. I'm coming in on Friday, but I can't come in before next Friday because I'm in isolation at the moment. But yeah, I've got a few things that I still need to hand over to the new teacher. So I do need to come in, and I'll come in on next Friday. Right. This is the last picture I'm going to show you, and I'm going to set you a task. Now, as I said earlier, the year group email addresses are still open. So based on what we did today, we did similes and metaphors. We did good use of adjectives. We used adverbials, either at the start, in the middle, or at the end of a sentence. And we used emotions. I would like you to use all of those together. This is optional work, Neha. You don't have to do it. Don't worry. I'm not going to make anyone. It's optional. Using all of those together that we've just done, can you describe this picture for me? And when you come to describing this, what you can do is you can pause the video, go back to the video, pause it, look at the picture, and you can use it as you write. So I'll hold it up for a little while so you can see it. Try and describe this setting. This is actually one of my favorite pictures that I've chosen. Here we go. I'm just going to come in for a close-up. So look at the clouds. The clouds were like what? Emotion. Adjectives. Position. I don't think he's falling, Peter Pan. I think he's flying. He's not Buzz Lightyear falling with style. He's actually flying. So there's your task, there's your picture, and everything we've worked on today is what I want you to put into your description. When you've done your description, you can send it to y2, the letter y, the number 2, at anglesey.beham.sch.uk. And I will access that as long as I still have access to the computer system. All right, we are going to wind down this video, but before we do, I'm going to do a short Q&A. So if anybody has any questions before I go, feel free to put them into the chat now, and I will answer them for you. $144. I'm going to go to a new school over in Coventry, and I'm going to be an assistant head teacher there. Why am I leaving? I'm leaving because I've been at the school 9 years now, and a lot of teachers at Anglesey, they spend almost their whole life there. But I want to get better as a teacher, and I want to get stronger, and I want more experience. So that's why I'm moving on. I want to see what other schools are like and learn new things. And who knows, one day I might be back. Who is your favorite student? No, I won't answer that one. No, I've too many. I've had some really, really, really wonderful classes. You should spend your whole life at Anglesey there. Who knows? I might be back. I might do that. We'll see. It is a primary school. Ours is 3 form, so, well, 3 to 4, so it means that there's 3 classes in each year or 4 classes in each year. The school that I'm going to is 2 form, so there's going to be 2 classes in each year group. I do not have a favorite student. Alicia, I've had lots of wonderful year 2 classes and lots of year 3 classes, and I refuse to pick between them. Who was my BFF at Anglesey? I got on with all of the stuff. The thing about Anglesey is everybody who works there really cares about what they do. And they're amazing teachers, and they made my time there wonderful. So as for BFF, I couldn't pick. Are you friends with Mr. Jordan? Yes, we are friends. We do talk. Yeah, me and Mr. Jordan are friends. Did you like So Long? And thank you for all the fish. Yes, I really, really did like it. It was very emotional. I also I received a few letters because I was leaving from some of the children, and that made me emotional as well. Spill the tea. Well, I can't spill the tea because then I'll get tea all over the floor. Rayanne, you think 2S 2020 and 2021 is the best? It was certainly a very good class. I've had a very good year. Sir, can you do one final just dance? I'll tell you what, Alicia, I'm not going to do it right now because I am absolutely boiling in this room. But I will upload a video onto YouTube if I can still access it later in the summer, and I'll do one more just dance. I didn't cry when England lost the final. But I was talking to Mr. Jordan at the time. I didn't cry, and neither did Mr. Jordan, but we weren't happy. But we were proud. We were proud of what the football team did. Will you cry when you leave? Is the saddest thing, Nehar, is that I didn't get to say a proper goodbye to the children this year, and that's the thing that upsets me the most. It would have been nice to be in today, so I could have said goodbye to everyone. And because I'm isolated, I can't come in Monday either. So that is sad. Thank you, Liana. Cry. I'm not going to cry on command. Sir, do you feel bad for Saka? Well, Saka did an amazing job, and so did all of the England team. So just because people lost doesn't take away from the fact that they played such amazing games. What is the school name? Bye. Hopefully you pop down to Anglesey. Hopefully, if I can. The only problem, obviously, with working in another school is that school is open when our school is open. So as much as I would love to pop back into Anglesey, when you'll be at Anglesey being taught, I'll be teaching at the other school. Well, thank you very much, Alicia, for joining the live stream. It was very nice to have you here, and you added some really amazing sentences, which I suggest if anybody wants to look back through the chat after they're done to help them with their task, please do. There were some incredible sentences from quite a few children in the chat today. If you could have one painting, what would it be? I love Van Gogh's Starry, Starry Night. I know it's a really big, famous one, but I just think it's absolutely beautiful. Mr. Keeling, are you happy? I am nervous. I'm excited about becoming an assistant head teacher, but I am very nervous because it's change, isn't it? It's something new, and I don't know if I'll be any good at it. I'm hoping I'll be good at it, but I am nervous. Okay, we'll go a couple more questions and then we'll wind down. Mr. Keeling, what is your favorite art piece or paintings? It's definitely Starry Night. I love Starry Night. I'll miss you too, Liana. Do you have any plans for the summer holidays? Well, a few months ago, I was very optimistic and I booked a holiday to Gran Canaria, and it's still on the amber list. And I will be hopefully going there. It just depends. It depends, doesn't it? We can't say for sure on anything at the moment. But yeah, 10 days away on a very sunny island. He's ignoring me. What did you say, Sam? Sorry. So I have it in my bedroom starry now. Oh, do you? You have the original? The original be worth millions, but they do sell the poster. Thank you for everything you've done for us. I wish you all the best in the future. Thank you, Raya. And I wish you the best in the future as well. I'm sure you'll do amazing at school and beyond. What's my favorite memory? Oh, there's so many different memories with so many different classes. I think it was funny that time I was doing playing a Victorian, very strict teacher, and I brought the ruler down to the table and it shattered into 1,000 pieces. That was quite funny. Or there was one year where I brought in lots of different food for the children to try, and I said to the children that if they tried everything, I would eat a tomato. Now, for the children that know me, they would know that raw tomato is just the one food that I cannot eat. I do not like it. But I didn't think that all of the children would eat all of the weird and random foods that I brought in for them to try. But because they knew that I would eat this tomato, they did. They tried everything there and then they wouldn't let me off. So I had to sit in front of the class and eat a huge raw tomato, which is my least favorite food. So that was quite funny. Is there any other questions just before we finish? I think it was the year after your class, Alicia, with the food. Sir, can you phone Mr. Jordan and FaceTime him? I don't know if Mr. Jordan's actually in this speech or in this live chat or not. Favorite musician? Again, it just depends on the style of music. I like classical music, and that would be Beethoven. I'm not so good with pop music, although I like Billie Eilish. Her music's quite good. Or is it Eilish? Anyway, I've got tickets to go and see her. Prank call someone? No. So do you have TikTok? No. No. Harry Styles isn't really my kind of music. Eilish. Thank you for that. Okay, I am going to end this here. And I just want to say before I go that my time at Anglesey has been absolutely amazing. I will try not to make this the last time that I see people. I will try and come into the school if I can, if I get any chance to. I will. Anglesey is an amazing school, and the children and the parents and the teachers and everybody in that community are the most amazing people that I've ever worked with in my life. And I don't think I'm ever going to find a group of people that are so special to me. And that place is a very important place in my heart that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Keep being amazing. Keep being amazing with your new teachers. And the future, guys, is yours. You know, when I'm old, the future is whatever you guys are doing when you're older. So make it a good one. Be kind to each other and do well. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.